Without Steph Curry, what will the Warriors look like? Can't fake desperation. Minnesota's got to have it. Steph Curry out with a hamstring injury. Minnesota jumped them early. They scored the first 13 of the game, and off the Naz Reid miss, Anthony Edwards, all three of these. Timberwolves up 16. Then Ant. No one stopping ball. 29-15 after the first quarter. Second quarter, Reid and Draymond, and Reid's down on the ground. And take another look, you'll see that Green ends up getting a technical, his fifth of the postseason, 2 away from a 1-game suspension. Halfway through the second, it's all home team, but this is a moment where everyone in the building's holding their breath as Edwards, when he lands, you'll see Trace Jackson Davis lands on his ankle, and Edwards laid there for a long, long while before he would limp off to the locker room. Under 2 to go in the half, Julius Randle, lefty 3 from the top of the key, and Minnesota had the lead at the half. The question was, would they have Ant in the second? Yes, they do. And the Warriors do try to mount a comeback. They're within 13 off the miss. Jaden McDaniels all alone with a throwdown, and the lead's 15. Actually got as close as 7 at one point, but Minnesota cruises in this one. There's Edwards. He had 20 points, 9 boards. Then it's Randle, who had 11 assists. You saw the one a moment ago, and 24 points. Here's Ant on the importance, the necessity of a Game 2 win.
I think it was the biggest game of our career, so I think we needed it really bad.
We've seen you go down before and get right up. Did that one feel different at all? Or
Yeah, that one was bad. But y'all see, he like stepped on my foot, so yeah, that one was crazy. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, D. Hines, I don't know what he be doing, but my physical therapist, he the best in the world. Yeah.
Lots of ways that being an elite athlete pay off, and being able to shake those things off certainly is one of them. I thought we were pretty consistent there with everything other than the beginning of the second half. Other than that, was exactly the response that we needed.
It's a hell of a trip, to come in here and split the first 2, coming off of a 7-game series, winning Game 7 on the road, and then starting this series 48 hours later. We couldn't ask for much more. I mean, this was very predictable how Minnesota would come out tonight, and sure enough, it was like 13-0 before we could blink. I mean, they came out with incredible defensive intensity. We knew they were coming after us. This is how it works. You have to, try to withstand the rush, which we did. Cut it to 7 in the second half, had our chances, but it wasn't meant to be. Minnesota played a great game. It's their game tonight, so we have to respond.
Joined now by Kendrick, Perkins, and Perk. So few of these games in this round of the playoffs in particular have gone the way you kind of thought they would. Maybe OKC, Game 2 at home, they're not going to lose 2 in a row, and they house Denver. And with no Steph Curry, after Minnesota drops Game 1, they got to win this game, and they do. Was this script the script that you think we will see moving forward in the absence of Steph?
I do, Scott. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves in the locker room, we call these type of wins professional wins, right? The wins that you're supposed to go out there and get. It's called being a professional and doing your job. And that's what Minnesota did tonight. And I was more impressed by the growth of this squad, right? And especially Anthony Edwards. We know he could go out there if he wants to and get 30 a night and shoot up a whole lot of shots. But as a team, they had 33 assists. That's growth to me. And right now, he's not forcing anything. Golden State is going to come out. They're going to play zone. They're going to put 2 people on them. And he's trusting others. If they're trying to make a deep run, which I believe they will, Scott, then that trust has to be there, and it has to start with Anthony Edwards. And by the way, shout out to him for responding in great fashion after being called out publicly by his head coach.
Yeah, so, he received the criticism and responded professionally. I'm with you on that. As I'm watching this game, Perk, I'm talking to one of my boys who's a very sharp basketball viewer, and he said, why is Jimmy Butler so passive? He said, this is a guy that's capable of hanging half 100 on a nightly basis if necessary. I found it odd. What did he take, 5 shots in the first half? What did you see, or what didn't you see that you want to see from him?
Well, it's the line that LeBron James told Luka. He told him, don't fit in, fit out. Jimmy, they need you to fit out now, right? Like, you're not the second option. You're not the Robin. You're the Batman. 13 shot attempts is not going to cut it. Minimum 20 shot attempts, right? Like, going into this game. And that has to be a message delivered from Steve Kerr and Draymond Green. In order for them to stay afloat, if Steph Curry returns or when he returns, Jimmy is going to have to be aggressive. I love when he's a point forward, you know, when they're clicking on all cylinders. But to be on the road on the game 2, you look for your guy, your franchise guy, your number 1 option to set the tone early. Jimmy didn't do that. But I believe he will do that at home in one of these games, games 3 or game 4. We will be talking about Jimmy Butler. He will be going viral because he will have him a 40-piece night.
I feel like that's required, Perk. I don't know what other recipe there is for them to win in the absence of Steph. And the way Curry explained it, he's like, look, this is not going to be a short little stint on the bench. You can't hurry this up. So it's going to have to be that. Is there any other recipe that makes sense for Golden State to get a win if it's not Butler going crazy?
Well, I mean, look, you saw a bright spot out of Jonathan Kuminga tonight. Right, but we didn't see the Buddy Hield that we saw the last 2 games. That's been averaging 27 points. You know why, Scott? It's a lot different now when you have the primary defender on you. You don't have the third defender guarding you no more. Now they actually putting the game plan around you. So what is Steve Kerr going to do? Like, what is he going to draw up to get these guys going? Because, you know, outside of Oklahoma City, Minnesota is the next best team in the Western Conference as far as having elite wing defenders, especially that damn Jaden McDaniels, 6'9", that could touch his ankles standing straight up. He's a problem.
Yeah, you talked about his growth. This is a man who's grown both literally and figuratively. The man's grown a couple of inches since he got to the league. He is a problem for sure. All right, Minnesota gets the get-right game. The series shifts out west for the weekend. Perk, appreciate your time. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Appreciate you, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Another significant storyline, as we showed you in the highlight, the Draymond Green technical making contact with Naz Reid's face. That's his 5th technical. He was visibly upset with the call. And after the loss and after the game, Green had this to say at his locker.
I look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
As for playing on the edge, Steve Kerr essentially said, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially saying that's part of Draymond. Draymond got that 5th technical in game 2, which is the most of any player this postseason. Again, the bookkeeping here is a 7th would lead to a 1-game suspension. Wouldn't be the first time Green was suspended in the postseason. Game 5 of the 16 finals, which was part of that 3-1 series collapse. And again, just to reiterate, as if you're not already aware, for the moment, Golden State is without Steph Curry because of the hamstring issue. So Draymond doesn't have a lot of wiggle room as it relates to technical fouls moving forward. Joined now by Dave McMenamin, who joins us from the Twin Cities on the Wolves beat. This series, Dave, down some significant star power for the foreseeable future, obviously with Steph Curry out with a hamstring. Some real tense moments when Ant goes down with the ankle injury, but he comes back in the second half, plays well. So the fears were dashed in the short term. Are there any lingering concerns looking down the road regarding his health?
Scott, not necessarily. He's been dealing with this ankle since Game 4 against the Lakers in the first round. I saw him in the locker room after Game 1 against the Warriors. He had the ankle iced. Certainly in the moment when it happened, when Trayce Jackson-Davis lands on that ankle with all of his weight, it looked really bad. And you started to wonder, man, the Wolves got this break here with no Steph Curry for the foreseeable future, but are they going to not be able to take advantage of it because of no Ant Edwards? What it turns out to be is a night where the legend of Ant Edwards grows. Josh Minott, who has his locker right by Ant, as Ant was starting to talk to reporters in the locker room postgame tonight, he goes, "My man's got an immortal ankle." Julius Randle told me that Ant's like Wolverine with his ability to heal rather quickly and get back on the court. And he continued to make plays for the Wolves against the Warriors. When the Warriors cut that 22-point deficit down to 7,
right,
you still saw Anthony Edwards making plays, and he was big for them tonight.
Minnesota held under 90 in game 1. They drop it. They can't afford to lose game 2, and they don't. This kind of played out the way we thought it might. Just didn't know where the points would come from the Minnesota side. Julius Randle, a team high 24. What did he have to say about their turnaround in game 2?
Well, what really struck me for him was that he said after game 1, I need to be better. Like, he called himself out for only getting 3 rebounds. So he go out and get 7 rebounds in game 2. But he had 6 assists in game 1, which was pretty good. He ends up with 11 in game 2. He's the first Wolves player to have 20 points and 10 assists in a playoff game since Kevin Garnett back in the day. A big-time performance, and really his penetration opened up the three-point shooting for the Wolves. And they hit 16 threes from the outside tonight. That was after a historical shooting drought over the last 2 games. They were 12 for 76. It was terrible. It was literally the worst shooting performance in NBA history in the playoffs over a 2-game stretch. They looked more like the team that we're accustomed to seeing tonight. Now just got to bring some urgency to the road for game 3 on Saturday.
Dave, appreciate the time and perspective. Been too long. I'm thinking as you walk up, I'm like, I haven't talked to Dave in forever. I'm glad we sorted that out tonight. Hope we can do it again.
Been a minute, brother.
I'm going harder where I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.